Greetings and welcome to the Psychic Inside Show. My name is Joelle, and I am the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower, and I trust that you find these conversations as interesting as I do. I am here on the Viberary Radio Network on Blog Talk Radio, and this is just a space for me to hold conversations and discussions that I have scheduled for you. Now, the Psychic Inside Show is Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m., and the Viberarian Show is on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Now, I believe that everyone is psychic. You just may not realize it. And so by having these interviews on the Psychic Inside Show, I'm hoping that you will hear something that sparks a recognition in you of something that you may have experienced, and that you will find a common ground with the guests that I have on the show. Now, you can call in during the show to talk to our guests or ask questions about their psychic life story at 646-787-8436. You can also join us on Facebook and Instagram. I like to call it the Good Vibe Tribe. Now, I believe in spreading positivity and elevating the energy around me. So if you see something that you think is high vibe, that puts a smile on your face, educational, something uplifting, please tag Good Vibe Tribe or Get Lifted. Let me know about it, because I would love to share and amplify the positivity. There's entirely too much negativity in the world, and I think that we can all be empowered to spread high vibes wherever we go. Now, on the Psychic Inside Show, I have the honor and privilege of speaking with people who open up and share about their journeys. And I tell you, we have had probably 30 or 40 people on this show so far. The archives of the interviews are available on the Viberary YouTube channel. Now, Viberary and Viberarian, what is that word? Well, I'm a librarian, but I specialize in high vibe information only. So that is VIBE as in energy, RARIAN, or VIBERARY. I definitely want you to go and check out some of the interviews of people that I've had on the show, because these stories are fascinating, and I tell you what, every time I listen to them, I hear something new about a gift or ability that I'm always interested and curious about. If you have listened to the show before, then you know that I am a big fan of Gloria Parker's Big Psychic Fair. This event has been going on in Roswell, Georgia, for almost 30 years. And that is like a huge testament to the fact that there has been a market for conscious readings from gifted readers, psychics, intuitives, tarot, mediums, palmists. We've had all kinds of people come through Gloria Parker's in order to provide guidance to people who are seeking it. And it never fails that I meet somebody interesting, and I always, when I feel a spark of vibration, I reach out and I ask and invite individuals to come to the show. Tonight is no different. My guest, she is a woman of very few words. I will say that I haven't seen her just chatting and out there talking everybody up, but if you talk to her, she speaks words that are wise and kind and loving and very knowledgeable. So my guest this evening, I'm very pleased to welcome to the Psychic Inside Show, Disha Assudani. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly? I apologize if I didn't. Welcome to the show, Disha. Let's see if we can get her on the live line. Disha, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Okay, excellent. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So Disha is a Vedic astrologer and practices the art of palmistry, which I think is absolutely fascinating. And she is an intuitive and wise source of information. I'll tell you what, she sits in the corner and she has her charts and all her tools up, and it's a steady stream of people sitting down with her, so much so I haven't had an opportunity to sit down with you myself. But please, how long have you known that you had a special gift?
Frankly telling you, I had those gifts when I was a child, but I was not knowing it, definitely. So I definitely recognized them after my marriage, because that portal has opened for me only after my marriage.
That is interesting. Does the word psychic, is it a term that you consider resonant with yourself? Is it a word that you were familiar with? Or is there another way that you learned to talk about your particular skills?
Definitely it resonates with me. I'm a psychic, but as you know, the psychic abilities for each one is different. So some people see images, some visions, and some get some thoughts. So my psychic abilities comes when I start my reading, when I'm doing reading the charts, when it's a Vedic chart, or I'm just seeing somebody's hands. So when just I see, my abilities comes and they give me information about everything.
So do you hear and see and then know the messages that you are to deliver then?
No, I don't hear them. It comes to me in terms of thoughts. And
okay.
In terms of thoughts.
The claircognizance is like psychic knowing. I think that is one of the hardest gifts to distinguish, because how do you explain when you just know something? People think it comes from your mind space, but at what point did you realize that it was coming from a different aspect of your knowing? How did you figure that out?
Yeah, definitely. Initially, I was not able to differentiate the higher self thoughts and my own thoughts. They were mixed. But definitely from last 5 to 6 years, I can totally differentiate both of my own thoughts and the thoughts are coming from the other one, So it's my inner sense which tells me, because my own thoughts make me puzzle, may give me anxiety, but when the thoughts are coming from higher side, it gives me calmness. It makes me quiet. So that's how I recognize the difference between the thoughts.
Now, when you first started realizing after you got married, how did your knowing then come to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm receiving spirit messages"?
Yeah. So here's the story behind it. I was interested in astrology and palmistry and numerology since I was very young. But because of, the social pressure and all that, I never explored those things. And I thought these are just for entertainment purpose, or it can be a hobby. So I took it as a hobby, and I took my degrees, I did my master's, I did my job. But when I got married, my mother-in-law, she is an astrologer. She's a Vedic astrologer. And not only the Vedic astrologer, she is into all these things. Like, she's a Reiki master, she knows crystals. And from there, she's my one of the inspiration. She's my greatest inspiration. And when I met her, that has given me that yes, you cannot stop your psychic abilities and all those things within you. You have to bring it out. So when I met her, I started learning my Vedic astrology from her. I learned the basics from her. And as soon as I got married, because she's a Reiki master, and from her, I learned I took my first Reiki attunement. So that was the point. I just started. I just entered into all this, into a new world for me.
That is interesting. I would say that most people would say that their relationship with their mother-in-law is not that easy to find something afterwards. So you had a positive experience. Now, in your own family, was there or have there been people who had psychic gifts that you have found about now that you came into your own abilities?
Yeah, as I said, after entering this world, even like before, when I come to know about myself, after that, even I realized like my parents has those abilities. They were very intuitive, even my father basically, and he was recognizing the events before it comes, and he was telling, not to us because we were children that time, but I heard that my mother used to say, like, your father was knowing it's about to come. And now I realize why he was experiencing those things and why my mother, they both are intuitive, So, and even from till date, they don't know those abilities. They have not explored. The reason behind is, like, the society we are living is not very open to these psychic abilities or to the metaphysical world, so they keep hiding their own abilities. So, yeah, but it's in my family, definitely.
Now, in terms of societal pressures, I think that is a common thing that I have heard in these interviews are that when people were children, either there was a strong religious teaching against those abilities, or there was some other kind of pressure that made them uncomfortable with what was happening for them naturally. So do you have any experience like that?
Yes, definitely. I belong to a very rich Hindu culture. In our culture, these all sciences, I call them science, whether it's astrology or the numerology or palmistry. Many people know these knowledges. They have this knowledge, but the thing is that they are not open, and there are particular, our Hindu culture is based on the caste system. In our caste, there is a particular caste who are doing all these things, and we call them priests. They are priests, so they live their living on the rendering these services. But for the other people who are not coming in that caste, they do have these knowledges, but they are not using that for. They just use for their family and for extended family, for the friends. Same that happened with my mother-in-law. She has a profound knowledge of Vedic astrology. She is a Reiki master, but she has no for any other.
Uh-oh. We got a little distortion on the signal. We'll have to see if we can get her back on the line. The call dropped. If you just give us one moment here, we'll get her reconnected. Thank you for your patience. We'll get her reconnected here in just a moment. Here we go.
I dropped.
Hi, yes, sorry, we lost you there for a minute. So the last thing that you were saying got all jumbled and muffled, and you were speaking about your mother-in-law and being a Reiki master.
Yes, yes. So I told you that she has vast knowledge, but she is not using it for anybody else, only just for the family, for the extended family, and for friends. So that was the pressure I was talking about. So, and even in my family, my father and my mother, they had those abilities, but because we didn't belong to that particular caste, so we never thought to render those things. Like, I'm giving my services here, but if you understand that part, in Hindu culture, these astrological services are rendered by the Hindu priest. They are residing in the temples. So there's such a social taboo for that. Like, a common man cannot have this knowledge. So if they have, they cannot use it for their living. So that is the social pressure we have. Yeah.
That's interesting because I know I had been doing research many years ago, and I found this this lecture series that was called From the Jewish Perspective. And I guess I just didn't really know enough about Judaism because I was like, what is I didn't know Jewish had. And then I realized, the Kabbalah, and, there's a lot of mysticism. And so I listened to this 12-hour lecture series by a rabbi who was teaching his congregation about the stars and zodiac astrology. Now, in the Protestant Christian view that I came up in, that was unheard of, and it was firmly frowned against in terms of current times, although in the Bible there are plenty of references to the wise men following the stars, Is zodiac and star astrology then a component of the Hindu belief system, since there are priests who are delivering this guidance? Is it incorporated into the religious teaching?
Yes, it is incorporated. But I have realized that time has totally changed. After the 2000 has been started, I can feel a complete shift. Now people are recognizing that this is not the anybody can have that knowledge and can use it, for the benefit of the others. So time is changing, definitely, and that has given me courage. That I got that courage to come out and use my knowledge for the benefits of the people.
Now, you have been providing readings and guidance for over 10 years, I believe, correct?
Yes.
So how did you transition from just sitting with your mother-in-law and learning astrology? Was it through friends beginning to say, would you read my palm? And I want to get into the palmistry next, but how did you start professionally offering services?
Yeah, definitely. It starts with the friends, with the family, and I was also curious when I started learning. I started looking at everybody's chart, and from family to extended family, I started learning what is, even I was correlating with their past, whether it's reflecting in their chart, and slowly, my friends started coming to me asking questions. And if you know that our Hindu culture depends totally on astrology, like so many of our rituals are based on the astrology. Like if a child is taking birth, we are contacting to the astrologer to get done the chart, the natal chart, and there are so many rituals which the time of the birth, even throughout our life, there are so many stages where we go to the astrologers and we get the dates, particular dates and timings. So everybody goes to astrologer. So it's not a new thing. So when my friends come to know that I'm learning, and they started coming to me. So at the starting, I didn't ask any money out of them, but slowly they started it's the tendency. They were getting the things, and they were finding it very accurate. So they started giving me donations or gifts. So that's how I started. Yes.
I think that's how it happens for a lot of people, because you don't ever say, oh, well, when I grow up, I'm going to be a psychic reader. Maybe now that things are shifting, but when I was growing up, there was you read about Edward Casey and Sylvia Brown and authors like that, and then more recently John Edwards. So there was a coming out or coming forward, so to speak, but it's not like something that you thought, oh, this is going to be able to support me, even to the point of full time. But it turns out, and is this what you basically are doing now with all of your services?
Yes.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing to be able to transition into something that I assume that this brings you a great deal of joy and happiness to be able to even be of spiritual service.
Definitely. And you are right, the time has totally changed. I can see a complete shift, because now I see the young people, they are not at all shy of these abilities. They come openly, and they are making their own full-time thing, they know they can do it. And that gives me courage, definitely, yeah.
It's a rapid shift between the generations, and so many kids are now they're like you said, they're open already. And I see even at the psychic fair, there's 17, 18, 19-year-olds who are coming with their friends, making a Saturday of it, and nearly every one of them who sits down, I can feel their awareness. And I'll ask them, I say, so do you? And they'll say, yes, I think so, so that is very, very exciting. Now, your entrance into knowing when you were, so astrology is somewhat different in that it's a system of divination, and I would say that maybe half of psychics are using their own psychic abilities in addition to what the knowledge of the planets is. But a large number of people, which I think is why people are able to get charts online, because you're really looking at a calculation and a movement and a fixed scientific way of looking at the energies and relation of the planets. Was that then your first kind of pathway that you stepped into, or did you kind of step into that and palmistry at the same time as you were kind of opening up to everything?
As I believe, I learned palmistry first, and that I learned when I was very young, and little bit contribution was from my grandfather, and but he passed away very soon when I was just 10 or 12 years. So I was not able to learn fully from him, because he had that knowledge, very good knowledge of it. But I did learn little. But as I said, I was very young, and I've never paid attention to it. So I completely forgot when, as I said, when I got married and I started learning the astrology. So at the same time, because I had the basics of that, so I started learning the palmistry at the same time. So they both run parallelly, in terms of learning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And did you do any training outside of what you did with your mother-in-law?
No, I haven't. The things I've learned from her, that's it. And after that, it's my self-learning. I kept learning.
Mhm.
Yes. From her, I got my all Reiki training attunements. I've got my master attunement from her. So and I realized that taking the Reiki attunement, that helped me to open to that portal, and from that only I got the courage to accept all those the abilities I had to accept those things.
Mhm. That is, I tell people all the time that I think one of the best things that you can do for yourself is have a Reiki attunement and to do the level 1 Reiki class, any system, Usui, any of them, but because you will be able to work directly with your own energy body before you ever begin to work on anybody else. It will, if you're into, yoga is the big thing now. Everybody's doing yoga, but if you're looking at chakras, and more people now know about chakras in the last 30 years, at least in the United States, you know what I mean? So if you want to work on your own energy body, Reiki is an awesome universal life force energy way to work in your own healing. So I'm a huge fan of that.
Right, definitely. Yes.
Now, in terms of the palmistry, now I've heard that when you start to look at palms, it's like certain folks have a knack for being able to see your story. There's certain things that are, the knowledge of which lines do what, but from what I've heard, it's really like just tapping in and then being able to read Braille almost as if a blind person were running their fingers across. Did it start to really flow for you like that then, once you really started focusing your awareness on it?
Yes, that is absolutely true. So once I start looking at the palms, I can see the whole picture I can see the, all the whole personality, the emotional, mental, psychological, and anything physically has happened to a person. So I can, it's a clear book, once you open it, you can see everything from the hands, the lines, the marks, all marks in your hand. They give all information.
I think that it's awesome that the kind of what I would call old school divinatory arts, palm readers at one point in time in this country, again, I can only speak from where I come from, it was like a carnival, or you would go to see the person at the fair that would be reading, and there'd be all kinds of costumes and drama about it, or at the boardwalk you would find there would be a crystal ball reader or a palm reader. But this really is a pathway that is very old, and I don't see a lot of people at big fairs that are palm readers. So I love when I encounter people who are carrying forward that knowledge and practicing it now, and that it's not being lost.
Right, definitely. And it is true. Now I have seen so many palmists around me only in Atlanta area. I have lived in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey. There also I have seen people are doing the palm reading. So definitely it was a thought that this science will get vanished, or this knowledge will go. but definitely not. People are coming forward and they are using this ability and they are using this knowledge and granting these services. That I'm pretty much positive for that this science and this knowledge is not vanishing at all.
Now, did you find a difference when you moved from the north to the south in terms of acceptance or using your psychic abilities?
Yes, definitely. I find it very different. In New Jersey, it's not very open. Definitely, people are not. Maybe it is being a little more years to me. I moved, but that time it was not that open. But in Pennsylvania, definitely things were changing, and I was working with so many Reiki masters, and I was going to their places and giving my readings. People were getting open about these whatever modality you talk about, they were getting open. The response I got here in South, definitely it's overwhelming. It's totally different because here people are more advanced about learning and accepting these things. Definitely they are way more acceptable of that.
That's so interesting because I had one lady on the show who moved to North Georgia. So she was not in the metro area, and her experience was much different. But, in Atlanta, like you said, Gloria's had her fair for 30 years, and then Aquarius magazine. I remember being in college and picking in the 90s and picking up Aquarius magazine, and Phoenix and Dragon Metaphysical Store, I think, has been around at least that long. So it's kind of like if you tap into it, then it's accepted, which is nice.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then it's still given kind of a wide berth by people who tend to be more traditionalist in the religious sense of things. So now, in terms of, are you a medium as well?
No. I'm not a medium or I don't talk to spirits.
Yes. See, a lot of people, that was one thing that is interesting because everyone is psychic, but how you use your psychic abilities is really, a personal choice is what I was always taught. And, I will tell people in a minute that if you want to connect with your Aunt Bertha, I'm not the reader for you. You know what I'm saying? And I will refer them to someone else because, I, like you, I don't do that. Although members, like my grandfather was one of the first experiences that I had of him connecting with me through a psychic reading, and then I realized that I had been hearing him clairaudiently singing and speaking to me for a long time before I was aware of it. But in terms of reaching out to do that service for others, quite frankly, that's been something that's kind of given me pause, where I've just not chosen to kind of expand my gifts in that direction. Is there any particular reason why you have not, or is it similar to that, or do you have your own personal conversations with spirit and family?
No, definitely. I didn't get that kind of experience till now. No.
Okay. It's
but
always so interesting. Well, it's always so interesting how, people are experiencing things. I tell people all the time, there is no one right or wrong way to be psychic. That it could be that you feel things, or you smell things, or you know things, or hear things, but don't ever judge yourself for
Right.
either having those experiences or not having those experiences as well.
Right.
It sounds like you have a very supportive family environment where you are free to grow and expand. Do you feel like that has been very helpful for you as you have branched out into your career?
Yes, definitely. And I'm very, very grateful and thankful to my family, to my mother-in-law, to my husband, because without their support, I wouldn't be, like, I cannot think of doing these things, and where I'm doing all that, and they appreciate me. And as I told you, the social taboo is no more at all because of this support.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, and I believe that for anybody, whether it's a man or woman, family support it's a must thing. If one has, one should definitely feel grateful for that, and I'm really lucky for that.
That is wonderful. Do you do any instruction of either Reiki or astrology? Are you teaching others at this point?
I have started the palmistry classes, but yeah, it's in my agenda. It's in my future plans that I am. I want to teach astrology, basically the Vedic astrology, which is I find it's tremendous. It is like little thorough thing, you know. Anybody has to give time and patience to learn that thing. So it's my, it would be, I love it to do it in my future, but not now I'm doing it.
Well, I tell you what, on Thursday on the Viberarian show, I am very excited because you have agreed to come back and have a discussion with me about Vedic astrology, which is something that I have been very curious about for many years. And I will tell you, I picked up a book at Phoenix and Dragon, and I only made it like 5 pages in before my head started swimming, and I just was like, it's too much, it's too hard, you know, and so I didn't continue. So I'm looking forward to our discussion where you can explain some basics of the system to myself and the listeners who will be tuning in. Astrology is very complex because it is more than just the 3 or 4 sentences that most of us grew up reading in our local weekly newspaper or in Cosmo magazine with their little horoscopes and things like that. It's actually a science that many ancient civilizations, such as the Mayans, who were very tuned into the star placements. We know from the pyramids and places like Stonehenge that the alignment of the stars has been so important by people who lived thousands upon thousands of years before we did. And it sounds like in Hinduism there is also a thread back through all the teachings that does connect to looking at the stars. So as an ancient study brought forward in modern times, from what I understand, even the term Vedic is kind of a new word for that branch of astrology.
Yeah, first of all, I would say thank you for inviting me on Thursday show, and definitely I'm also excited to talk about Vedic astrology on the show. And I believe Vedic, the word Vedic is given because all the knowledge has been retrieved from the Vedas, the written scriptures. Yes, that's why it is called Vedic. But, I find it's totally different from Western, because in Western, they are just giving more emphasis to transit. But here we believe we are focusing more on the natal chart besides moving to the transit. So Vedic astrology, I believe it's the name given to it because of its origin. I think that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm very interested for you to come back on Thursday because I think we'll have definitely a wide-ranging discussion about that system. And in terms of the services that you provide, so your typical client, if you could say, who would be the typical person who contacts you, and what kind of services are you providing in that capacity, outside of the psychic fair type of experience?
So I give the services for the palm reading and for the Vedic astrological reading. Anybody, whether it's a child, male, female, of any age, they can come and contact me for if they are curious about their future or they wanted to know about their past even. And for the astrological reading, it is very important to have their correct birth time. That is, their time is very important because many times people have their date and the place of birth, but in previous times, most people don't have the correct birth time. So for the astrological reading, that is very important. So when the people don't have the correct birth time, then I recommend them to go with the palm reading because for them I don't need anything. I just need their palms, and I give the online readings also. So if the person cannot come in person to me, I can read their hands through online. So what they have to do, they have to send the pictures, palm pictures, as per my guidelines, because it's very important to get the correct and different pictures. So if a person interested, they will contact me and I will guide them how to take the pictures and how many pictures in which direction, and then they send me the pictures. And by looking at the palm pictures, I can, do my analysis, and then I'm giving the online, on Skype, on different modalities. I give the reading through video calling, or just by the phone calling. So this is and even they can come in person if they are local here in Atlanta.
And do a lot of people get both the palm reading and the astrology, or do they start with one and then say, you know what, you did such a great job, let me get the other one too?
Yeah, that happens mostly. So what I do, I mostly do my services in terms of on hourly basis, like what time they consume. So when I do my reading, it is half hourly, or 1 hour for 1 hour. So when when I do my reading, like palm reading, and then they get information and they say, I'm curious about the astrological, I will include that reading. But I prefer whoever will come, they will do both the readings separately, because in astrological reading, there are lots of calculations are involved. So I recommend them, whoever wants to get done the Vedic astrological reading, they give me their birth details priorly so that I do my calculations, and then I can discuss their readings, on phone or in person. That will save my time and the other person's time.
Yeah, that's true. When you start to do the charting and stuff, is that like exciting kind of for you to begin to look at a person's chart? Do you kind of, I don't know what the word is, like lose yourself in the study of it?
Yeah, definitely. When I see the chart, it's even when I see the palm, it's fascinating because once you see a person and you make an image about a person, I find it almost every time it's totally comes different when I see the chart and when I see the hands, because things comes entirely different from their own personality, from their physique. So it's a fascinating thing, when I see the chart and when I read the hands. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you get a good library book and you start studying something and you look up and it's 3 hours later, you're like, oh my gosh, but it's so fascinating. I know when you're doing work, you can't kind of go into that level of involvement, but it really is so interesting. And for people who allow you to look at their personal experience, that is a trust that I know most readers do not take lightly, because if a person's an open book to you, then, there's certain ethics and guidelines that come along with this work that everyone I know really does take very seriously. It's kind of like the priests who hold the confessional sacred, that once you start speaking with them, what you say is private between you and them. And I assume that you have the same kind of framework with your clients as well.
Definitely, and that is the priority of my work, like confidentiality. And every individual has their own. So I try never break their trust, and they come to us, with the trust that, like, we go to a doctor and we believe that our doctor never share our personal things with anybody. It's the same thing we follow in our, definitely in my services. Here's one more thing I want to include here. So when I do my Vedic astrological reading or palm reading, we can see the future, at some extent. So when we see something, we never tell our client directly about those things. We never let them care about those things. And the very good part of the astrology, and even in palmistry, we have remedies, So if we see some health issue is about to come, we warn them, like, they have to take care of their health, like they have to do exercise, take care of your diet. We never directly tell them, like, okay, there's a problem, there's a health issue is about to come. So that is definitely a thing we use. These terms we use in our services, definitely.
That is so. The first thing when I'll talk to friends who have never had a psychic reading before, they'll say, oh my gosh, I'm scared. I don't want to find out if I'm going to die, and that is like a very common thing, is that they're like, oh no, they think that it's like you're going to die in 10 days, kind of experience. And I don't know any psychic readers of any type who are, a few of them might get foretelling, but that's not something that they're given in a professional capacity. It's kind of just part of their own being able to see a certain energy around a person, but it's not something that they're like, oh, book a reading with me and see what your end date is going to be. I think that'd be kind of heavy to do, and in general.
Yeah.
Now,
even I got some clients, like they said, we are scared to get the reading because we don't want to hear something negative. And I was like, please don't think that you are going to listen anything negative. We are going to you the positives and negatives about yourself so that you can overcome all those things. We are not going to tell you that, because I believe nothing is fixed, even like until now also. Even astrology, I believe it. your own karmas, like what you are doing now, play a very major role for any event happen in future. So I believe astrology and palmistry helps in that way, that if somebody is going to just hint you off that something is about to come, if they change their karma, definitely the anything negative can be eradicated totally from the life. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the basic things is that a lot of people will say, well, I don't believe that the stars are going to determine my outcome. And I say all the time, well, you can just align with the natural energies that are present. Like fishermen, they know that when the fish are running and when the moon is full, planters know that you plant things in certain seasons, and if you don't follow the tides of the fishermen, you're going to be doing more work and you're not going to catch enough fish. So following the natural order of the planetary influences has proven itself to be helpful to people in a very literal way, such as feeding yourself the things that you need if you're lined up with the season. So to me, following or looking at the stars to see what the opportunities and challenges could be is not a big leap of thought, when it looks to my personal decisions, which are always at play. And like you said, at any given moment, you could decide to steal something or you could decide to not steal something, and thus hinges your karma and your trajectory from that moment in time,
Definitely, yes.
Now, where can people reach you for readings and services? Do you have a website?
Yes, I have a website, and my website name is Your Future with Disha. That is www.yourfuturewithdisha.com. They can reach out to my website. Even I have a Facebook page, so that is the Palmistry with Disha. So they can reach out from my page. They can send me a message, and my whole information is there, my email address, my phone number. They can contact me from both of the sources.
And you spell your name Disha. So for those of you who are looking, and I have provided your information on my Facebook page, the Viberarian as well, and linked to it on my Instagram. And in the next day or two, this interview will be available on the Viberary YouTube channel, and all of Disha's contact information will be there for people who are listening to this in the future. Know that your timing of hearing this was perfectly aligned for you, and do not hesitate to reach out to that contact information. Now, I have to say that you will again be at this month's Big Psychic Fair. The Big Psychic Fair happens every month on the first weekend of the month. Now, with July 4th, it was pushed back a week, so it's a bit of an anomaly. But this weekend, if you are in the Atlanta area, you can come up to Roswell, Georgia, to Harmony Place, the Big Blue Barn. You can Google that and find the address. It's on Green Street, I believe, in Roswell, Georgia, historic Roswell. Make a day of it because there's awesome readers and vendors there, and you'll be there on Saturday and Sunday, Disha, correct?
Yes, I'm there on Saturday and Sunday, both days.
Well, and the readings there are very affordable. If you've never had a reading before, it's an opportunity for you to have a short 20-minute, 15 to 20-minute reading and to sit down. You may want to get more than one session if you want to really be able to take a look at both your palm and your chart in sitting with Disha. And I definitely, it's from 10 to 6 on Saturday and noon to 6 on Sunday. So please go up there and take a seat with her, sign up for one of her time slots. I know I'm going to be signing up. I will not be there this month due to being out of town for family travel, but I keep saying I'm going to get on your books, and I definitely mean that. It gets so busy up there. It's hard to, we see each other as we're passing by to go get people to sit at our tables. It's like, I've been meaning to sit with you, you know, so now, I'm very excited because tonight you have agreed to provide on-air readings for people who call into the show. I know that we've had people listening on the phone lines and also listening in cyberspace. So those who, we had one lady who called that she was not able to hold on the phone, but I know she's going to be calling back in just a few minutes in order to have her reading. And would you share with us a little about what type of reading you will be able to deliver on the phone this evening?
So, definitely I will not be able to do the palm reading here on the phone. So I decided to do the astrological reading on phone here. And as I told you, for the astrological reading, definitely if somebody wants that, they have their birth details like their birth date, time, and place on hand, so that I can draw the chart, and I can definitely. I'm looking forward who is there, our caller who wants to ask questions.
Okay. Well, Patricia, I hope you're listening through your computer and are able to go ahead and get that prepared. We're going to start that up in about 3 minutes. So I just wanted to kind of get the housekeeping together about that. And please remember, these are on-air readings. So if you are calling for that, be aware that this reading is taking place in public space, and you're basically, you know, agreeing to that. This is going to be part of the recording, and of course we don't use your last name or anything like that, so your overall privacy is protected. But you know, if at any point in time you feel uncomfortable, please do say so, and we can definitely take it to where you could have a private or personal reading as well. Now, Disha, do you do YouTube readings or forecasts? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel for my palmistry, but I don't give the readings into that. I have given the knowledge about palmistry, how they can understand palmistry and see their own hands. But maybe in future I will do that. I will give the forecast, weekly or monthly forecast. But right now I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will hope maybe you would at some point be a contributor on the Viberary YouTube channel to give us talk or information or readings. We would love to have your videos as part of the information that's there. You know, the Viberary is really like a library. It's a place where you can go and you will find many resources, not just books. You know, at a library you have books and computers and teachings and programs, and at the Viberary we have classes and workshops and interviews and discussions. And I hope that one day someone will be searching on YouTube for psychic awareness, and they will come across your episode tonight on the shelf of the collection, and they will take the time to listen to this conversation that we've had this evening, and they'll say, oh, thank you that this was available, because I never would have thought that I would have been able to hear a story from someone like this. And I know that these conversations are, you know, divinely guided for me to have these times. And I'm so appreciative when people make time to open up their life for the public to hear about. And I don't take that lightly. I'm so thankful that you agreed to come on the show and share with everyone. And I know we talked a little bit ahead of time, and you said, I've never done anything like this. So I just appreciate the moments that you've taken with us this evening.
No, thanks to you, definitely, Viberarian. I'm literally grateful that you invited me to talk on that show, Yeah, it's my pleasure, definitely.
Well, it's so many walks of life when you see, people like Rocky Yang, who was on the show, and Shiva Jahan, who was on the show, and Tangela. We've got Baptists and Hindu and Buddhists and Catholics from Ireland. I mean, it's from all walks of life that people are coming on, and that's what makes my heart feel so full, because there's a commonness that goes beyond our cultural supposed divisions, between our religious supposed differences, and it's all people who are crossing those lines and saying, I'm here and I have a gift and I would like to offer it to you. If you would like to receive it, all are welcome.
Definitely. And it's a wonderful thing the Viberarian is doing. Definitely, it's bringing all the people together who belongs to the same. They have the same foundation. So it's definitely a great work. Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for Patricia to come back on. We told her thank you to my loyal friend and call screener Tanya for handling the switchboard this evening. She's always in the back end making sure everything goes smoothly. So shout out to her, and I know that we asked Patricia to give a call back at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we'll give her just a minute or two more, and then if she's not back, then we'll go ahead and wrap up for this evening. I do want to ask you, here she is. So if you'll just give me a moment, we'll get...
Hello.
Hi, how are you? This is Joelle. Welcome to the Psychic Inside Show.
Thank you for thank you for inviting me back.
Oh, I'm glad you were able to call back in. It is definitely a long time to have a phone on your ear to hold, but we do like to do these shows at the readings at the end of the show, because this is more about hearing the stories that are being shared with us than it is about psychic readings. We can kind of go anywhere for that, but I like to keep the focus on the individual. So I don't know if you got an opportunity to hear Disha share earlier about that she will be able to read from your chart as part of the reading this evening. Did you happen to catch that part?
I didn't. I just heard little bits and pieces.
Well, do you have your birth date and time?
Well, yes. My birth date is July 16th, 1958.
Oh, well, happy coming up birthday to you.
Thank you.
So, Patricia, can you repeat the year? Repeat the year, please.
The year?
Yes.
58.
Okay.
And the time, I'm not too sure, but I believe it was early morning, maybe starting at maybe 5 a.m.
Okay. And what is the birthplace?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. So, as you're not sure about the timings, but I'm taking the 5 a.m. time for you, and I will draw the chart. But definitely when the person doesn't have correct birth time, and then astrological readings are not, we say it can be accurate or it cannot be, because the chart definitely sometimes changes it within a minute, sometimes it changes after hours, so we are totally dependent on the timings, birth timings. So let me draw your chart. And Patricia, I'm just putting the information in my computer, and I'm just getting your chart, the Vedic chart here. So before getting that thing, do you have any particular question about your about this chart, or any question?
Well, yes, since this is a new year for me, from astrology and probably numerology standpoint, I just wanted to really get some clarity on, excuse me. I've definitely been wanting to, and I'm moving in the direction of self-employment, business ownership.
Okay.
And I need to know, with my musical talents, be it with the songwriting, and with the performing, writing, freelance writing, and under that will be copywriting and, of course, creative writing. And also I've started to speak, being a guest on radio shows, which is I want to create my own company and my own show, what they call under podcasting. Which one is going to be for the remainder of this year? Should I? And I have been, like I said, really, I have other other interest and desires with the voice acting. But I mean, which one of those? As I said, this is a new year. Would I be putting my attention on and to getting started?
Yeah. So, Patricia, have you ever done your chart, Vedic chart reading, so that I confirm your? Okay. So, Vedic chart reading depends totally on the ascendant sign. We work on the ascendant sign, and ascendant is the first house in your chart. In the we call it Lagna chart, the natal chart, and that is coming number 3. Your first house is number 3. That is Gemini. So here I will not go in much detail about the chart. I will just concentrate on your question, as you are, I say, you are interested in the career perspective, future career perspective. And
money.
Yes. Yes. So Vedic astrology totally depends on the dasha system. That is, we call it the Vimshottri dasha. The dasha is the planetary time period in your life, and your whole life is divided into that planetary time period. So you are right now under Venus dasha. So Venus dasha has been started in 2010, and it's the longest time period in anybody's horoscope. It is totally 20 years of time period, and in that 20 years of time period, we have the sub-time periods of all 9 planets. So that is, we call it the sub-time period, and you are under the Rahu sub-time period in your chart. Rahu is the north node in terms of Western palmistry. So besides going into these technical terms, I am just looking at your chart for your career perspective, and I'm looking very positive numbers here in your chart. So, and this time period is still 2021 of January, and even after that, I'm seeing Jupiter time will come, and that is also showing me very positive. So here I'm seeing the numbers of creativity in your chart. So I find you are a very creative person from inside, and not only in one field, you are very creative in different fields. So this all gave me information that you should go for, definitely, I will say, even these numbers are very good. 6, 11 are the winning numbers. So whatever pulls you, definitely you should go for that. And speaking, it's a very yes from my side. Like wherever you feel a pull, where you have to speak, go for that. Do you understand what I said? Yeah.
So the speaking will get the priority.
Yes. To speak about, like, speak out loud what you have, the knowledge you have inside. Just bring it out. So, and this time is continuing till 2023. So don't get afraid of anything, taking any decision. Just go for it, because this is the time for you. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, obviously still be working on the others, but I was just I started speaking this year, and speaking on an internet, another show on this Blog Talk Radio, and I was thankful for the opportunity because I was wanting to do that. About 10 years ago, and I had gotten some training, but nothing ever happened. I just felt like I was, much as I was putting in the effort to do that, there was like I could feel like a block or something. So I don't know if it was not the timing at that time or what. So yes, and I will be focusing and, just practicing, the writing, the copywriting, as well as the creative writing. And I believe those will be complementing one another. Because also in my spiritual, my life's past, I do feel and believe that the writing, but also music, healing, and I'm playing with energy, like sound sound healing, along with using musical instruments, and the speaking. I have a strong feeling about that, and so I'm talking about also from a spiritual standpoint as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can see your all creative things. Like, it's not the one thing you are doing. There are many things you are handling, and you'll be able to make definitely a profound. Something is about to come in coming 2 years.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just, preparing myself to relocate to another and live in another state. And it will be new energy, a new life, and in more ways than one. So thank you very much. And thank you again to the moderator who got me onto the show.
Yeah,
well, I
thank
appreciate
you,
your patience, and I would definitely, the Vedic to me is like a different lens to look at things, which I think is many possible ways that we can spiritually look at our lives. It can only benefit us, It's like having a lot of maps that can help us to align to our highest path. And I appreciate you willing to talk about your hopes and dreams and plans on the show with us this evening, Patricia. Thank you very much. And I'm a big fan of Blog Talk Talk as a forum because it gives everybody an opportunity, and there is somebody out there who wants to hear what you have to say. Don't ever doubt that.
Yes. Yeah, and I do agree with you that, there are so many avenues, with the astrology and numerology. And and I've not had any experience with Vedic, and I know there's Pythagorean, with the numerology, but I mean, that's so, because at one point I thought about that I was going to focus on being with the numerology as a reader, but I didn't get a feel or sense. But I still believe in, and the numbers, they have relevance, the numerology and, of course, the astrology as well. So I will, start really getting educated on the Vedic astrology and numerology.
Well, Disha, I had a question. You mentioned 6 and 11 were numbers. Could you, was that based on her chart, or was that like her life path, or what was that that you spoke about?
I talked about 611, and then we see the chart. In Vedic astrology, we have numerous charts for different things, like D9 chart, D10 chart, Navamsha, Dashamsha. So many charts are there. So according to the question, we have to see that particular chart. So the question was about the career. So I had to look to the Navamsha and Dashamsha chart, that is D9 and D10 chart. So in that chart, I work on the coordinates, on the Nari coordinates here in astrology. So 611 are the coordinates which gives information about the winning, like whatever you are up to. If I see these numbers in your planet, then they give me information that you will get the very positive results, whatever decision you make about it. So that's what I call that 611 numbers. They are the winning numbers if somebody has in their astrological chart. Yeah. So, and Patricia has in almost out of 9 planets, she has in 6 planets, that 611 coordinates. So that's why I said, don't get afraid. Sometimes we procrastinate the things only because of our fear, and that's what I just want to remove that. Just go for it. It's your chart is very positive for that.
All right, and I will definitely listen to the replay of the show to learn more about you and Vedic astrology.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia, for...
Yes, and please tune in Thursday because we're going to talk more specifically about Vedic astrology and, of course, in the general sense. And, of course, if you're like me, go ahead and sign up for a reading with her so you can get real specific. Now, I have a quick question. Disha, is it possible for people who do not know their exact birth time? I know that in Western astrology, through a series of questions, an astrologer can kind of backtrack by when certain things happened for you and kind of zero in more specifically for people who don't have that birth time. Is that also something that in Vedic astrology you can reverse engineer with a series of questions?
Yes, and thanks for asking me this question because I wanted to answer this question because many times we do not get the correct time. So there are 2 ways for doing those readings. One is called the BTR, that is birth time rectification. Though it's little a lengthy process, in that what we do, we go with the estimated time and we take all the events, the past the time events, we calculate that time and we make our time adjustment in the chart and come to a conclusion at one particular time which gives all correct past events. So this is the one method we do to get the correct time, correct birth chart, but it is a little lengthier process. So the other one is called it's a different astrology. It's called the horary astrology, the question astrology we call it. So it works on the basis of, sometimes a person has a burning question in their mind and they are into a middle of the road where they have to take one decision. That time that astrology helps. So in that we don't need anything from the person, like we even don't want their birth date. So we just want the one number from them. But the most important thing here is they should have one burning question in their mind, and then we can use that form of astrology that is called horary astrology. So with that only number, we draw the chart with the current time, with the current scenario, like now time. And with the heavenly help, we get the answer of the person's question from that chart. So these are the two ways we get to know when the person doesn't have the correct birth time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I'm glad that's the same thing, because that's the biggest thing, that people don't have their birth time. So, well, Patricia, thank you for coming on the air this evening and agreeing to have your chart read in public, and for listening and tuning in. I'm very appreciative of your support.
Thank you very much. Tell me the time on Thursday.
Thursday night it will be at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and it will be the same phone number you dialed if you were listening on the phone, and same Blog Talk channel, which is blogtalkradio.com/theviberary. And if you don't catch it live, you can always just look on YouTube, and you can I'll have this episode up within a day or so. A lot of times it's hard to catch things at the moment, but you can always queue it up for your morning drive on the replay later. But it's always nice to have the live call-ins when folks do call in, and it's especially nice when my guests have time to be able to provide on-air readings for people. So best of luck to you in your launch of your project. Sounds like it's going to be a great year or two for you.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the creation and the implementing and the doing of it. Thank you very much, ladies, and have a good evening, and be prosperous and well.
Thank you so much. You too.
And thank you, Joelle.
Well,
thank you so much. Yeah.
Oh, this has been great. I really appreciate your time this evening on the show. And as I said, you can catch a personal reading with Disha on Saturday or Sunday. The address to Harmony Place is 1035 Green Street, Roswell, Georgia. And they're there from 10 to 6 on Saturday and 12 to 6 on Sunday. That zip code is 30075. I know there are Groupons out there, I think, that you can get where you'll get extra bonuses. I think some crystals and things like that if you purchase the Groupon. The readings are really affordable for the value that you get, and there are also vendors there who are selling products that they also are creating out of their own personal gifts that they have received in order to create products that help heal and uplift people, which is such a beautiful energy to be in. So I thank you so much this evening, and I wanted to ask you, was there any particular challenge that you experienced overall in terms of accepting and moving fully into your gift? Was there anything that you would have by way of advice to people in terms of stepping more fully into accepting themselves?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to share one of my things. When we come to know about our gifts, the major challenge is how to execute it, how to tell people how, and we are afraid whether people will accept it or not accept it, and that is the greatest fear everybody has. So I even had that fear, and that keep us procrastinate the things and uses our gifts. So I will say, everybody, whoever has these gifts, don't be afraid of acceptance, because you have to accept yourself first. It is you are not accepting. That's why you are not. You are seeing the approval from others, and because you have not accepted, that's why you are not getting the approval from others. Once you accept it, you will see everywhere approval. So that is the main thing, major challenge. I have gone through it, and I have overcome that.
Yes, that's advice for anybody, whether you're talking about accepting your psychic self or your pudgy self or your short self or your mathematically challenged self. Acceptance and love for yourself, that's the bottom line right there. Well, thank you so much for coming on this evening, and I look forward to reconnecting with you on Thursday evening on the Viberarian Show, where my topic will be Vedic astrology and eclipses. We are in the middle of eclipse season. We had a solar eclipse on July 2nd, and we're going to have a partial lunar eclipse on July 16th or 17th. So we're going to kind of wrap the two up and to look at their importance in terms of our lives and opportunities that are presented, and we're going to get a little more into the Vedic system of looking at the stars. My guest this evening has been Disha Assudani. Thank you so much for coming on the Psychic Inside show tonight, Disha.
Thank you, Joelle. I'm really grateful to have on the show. Yeah, thank you so much.
And to each of you who are listening this evening, I absolutely wish for you all of the blessings that you could possibly hold, and that those blessings then spill out from your arms to the world around you. The light in me absolutely honors the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Good night.